Hyun enjoyed the feeling of bliss as she opened her eyes to a new day. She enjoyed the feeling of her head resting on E's chest. The night had felt magical, being reborn into her new body and feeling the power it had. She remembered how electrifying it seemed to join E and Celestra in their passion-filled dance, enjoying the taste and feel of one another. Though she had experienced sex before, it was either filled with anger and pain or a disconnect in not being able to experience intimacy. She remembered men and women who attempted to build a relationship with her when she was an adventurer, but no matter how much they fulfilled every need and want, the wall around her was never breached. There would be flashbacks to being assaulted by Eric and his underlings, how they laughed and humiliated her for their own pleasures. What would keep her up at night, huddling in the corner, was how she would sometimes enjoy the shame. But inside of that cocoon, Hyun could hear a voice. Hyun looked back at E and saw him looking at her and Celestra. Even though he appeared confident, there was a look of concern in his eyes. She remembered how the way he looked at her with love had always hurt her. It hurt to think how Eric would have E killed when he found out about her growing feelings for E. Even though E was strong, she feared that he would be murdered by the might of the Empire. Now, as she looked at E, Hyun felt only reassurance flowing out of him and into her. Hyun knew that she was safe to express the buried feelings that budded when they were transported to that nightmarish place. The door slowly closed, leaving her in a space filled with silence. A sense of weightlessness overcame her as she floated into the air. She was startled due to never experiencing gravity magic, but she understood that this would be better for them. Placing the pill into her mouth, she swallowed it and thought about E. He had put his being into what would transform her. Closing her eyes, Hyun felt her body begin to tremble. She remembered what E had told her and focused on a single idea, an idea that was her only wish. She wanted to be with him for all eternity and desired a body that would be forever useful to him. The memory of him looking down at her, his emotions clearly seen on his face after he had revived her, stayed in her mind. Like the feeling of insects crawling under her skin, Hyun clutched at her arms, wanting to scratch out the painful feeling. Not wanting to fail, she focused on all the feelings she felt when they walked together in that city. How she felt like a normal woman and not some whore. Through the building pain, she was still able to smile as she thought about how special he made her feel. Though he was surrounded by beautiful women, it still felt like she was a special part of his life. The world seemed to stop for her on that day, where nothing mattered outside the two of them. Tears streamed down her face as the pain increased. E, she thought to herself. The pain never seemed to decrease and only intensified. Not even how Eric tortured her felt as bad, though the way she felt was completely different. As she floated in the air, she thought about E's arms, holding her and comforting her as he whispered, "Please, it will only be a little longer, my heart." As if this thought triggered something, she found herself in a dark void, floating and no longer inside the chamber. She turned her head around as she felt confused, wondering where she was. "E, where are you?" she called into the darkness. Inside the darkness, she could hear a clicking noise. Trying to see where the noise was coming from, she peered into it. "My beautiful daughter," a familiar voice called out to her. Twisting around to the voice, Hyun saw her mother several feet away from her. She looked just as Hyun remembered her. "Mama!" Hyun cried as she reached out towards the image of her mother. "You have become such a beautiful woman," her mother said, smiling. I'm sorry for not saving you, Hyun cried, hoping that her mother was in a better place. Her mother walked towards her. Standing in front of Hyun, her mother gently placed her hand on Hyun's cheek. There is no reason for you to apologize. I am happy that you were able to survive. Her mother's face slowly looked depressed as she said, I am sorry that I was not there to protect you from such monsters. They hurt my baby girl, who did not even have her mother to protect her. Hyun shook her head. No, mother. I was not strong enough to protect you or everyone else. I only hope that mother is happy. She smiled through her tears, not wanting to make her mother sad. Her mother gently pulled her closer and hugged her. Though you had such a horrible experience, I am happy that you have found someone you can be happy with. Hyun enjoyed the feeling of her mother's warm body, making her miss the feel and smell of her. She never realized how much she missed the moments where her mother would hold her and read her fairy tales. Her mother's voice became serious. This world is scary, and you never know when someone will come along and take everything away from you. Do you understand? Yes, mother. I want to become someone that can protect E and take care of him. I want to become the perfect woman for him, to show him how much I am happy that he is in my life, Hyun answered. Her mother gently pushed her back. Daughter, the one thing in this world to fear above all else is the overflow. If you want to become strong, you need to become something stronger than the entire overflow. As Hyun watched, her mother's face slowly changed. It was no longer the beautiful image of her mother, but a frightening monster beyond anything the overflow could produce. Though she was seeing something so scary, Hyun didn't feel any fear. Instead, she felt like she understood what her mother was saying. Beyond the overflow, she needed to become something that could control a predator to the overflow. She had to be something those monsters feared, beyond the reach of anything. There were also images of her and E, looking like a happy family with a daughter in her arms. Not only did she want to become something powerful, but she wanted to become something that E would desire and want to covet. Yes, daughter, you understand what is necessary. It will be painful, but you need to concentrate. I will guide you, so you will become what you were always meant to be, her mother whispered to her. Her mother then took her hand and shoved it inside of Hyun's stomach. Hyun screamed in agony, looking up towards the uncaring void. Throughout the pain, she kept hearing E's voice. Come back to me. How are you feeling? E asked her, gently brushing her hair with his fingers. Are you asking about last night? Hyun grinned at him, lifting her head to see him. E laughed, shaking his head. I hope last night went well for you, though I was talking about your body. He rubbed her shoulder. Have you adjusted? Hyun smiled at him, nodding her head. I feel a lot better. The things that held me back no longer exist inside of me. She kissed his chest. Thank you, Master. He lifted one of his eyebrows. What brought about this? I feel connected to you, as no human could possibly imagine. While others may have doubts about their purpose in life, I now know mine. I am meant to be yours. She lay her head back onto his chest. I never knew how amazing it would feel to know why I'm here on this world finally. Does that sound silly? She snuggled up closer to him. No, that is not silly, though I have yet to experience such a feeling. He sounded distant. She lifted up her head and stared into his eyes. Master, I do not know about what causes this pain I feel from you, It feels as though you try and move away from us. I am thinking that maybe there is no grand purpose, other than what is artificially created. What purpose do I have? To gain these powers to the degree I could do whatever I felt like? E wondered, sounding confused. Master, though my love for you is vast and boundless, I feel that you think too much about things that do not need to be worried about, she sternly said to him. Hyun is right, Master, a voice sounded. Celestia's head rose up from sleeping on E's arm. Even if I do not understand the pain you carry, I feel as though Master is dwelling on things too much. We are not saying that being sad is not allowed, for we will always be here for you, Master. But the way you sink into such thoughts is not healthy. I did not expect that I was thinking about such things so often, E sounded amazed. We have seen your expression, and now that we know how you feel, we want to let you know, Hyun explained. Let us move forward and leave behind our negative thoughts. Though we can remember them occasionally, I do not want us to be dragged down by them. She kissed E on the chest. You have us with you now, in addition to everyone else who feels the same with wanting you to be happy. E slowly got out of bed and materialized clothes for himself. Picking some fruit that was sitting on top of a table, he looked back at the two of them. Master, what is the matter? Celestia asked, sounding confused. I think it may be a good idea to take your advice and do something fun. Talking about leaving behind things that depress us, it may be a good idea to do something entertaining. He snapped his fingers and made a mirror appear. In the mirror, the image of Helania appeared. Helania, is there anything interesting going on in the world? Without needing to look at notes, Helania answered, There is a substantial military force that is heading into the human kingdom. From where does this force originate from? He asked. It is from the Empire. Thank you, Helania. He looked towards Hyun and asked, Are you interested in having some fun with the Empire? Without meaning to, she could feel herself grinning from ear to ear. What do you have in mind? The two of you follow me, he began walking out of the room. Hyun looked over at Celestia and tilted her head. What do you think he is talking about? Celestia giggled. I am sure that it will be fun. She quickly bounced out of bed and grabbed some clothes before running out after E. Hyun couldn't help but giggle at the way Celestia looked so excited. The emotion that was coming off of E was mysterious, like he was hiding something. Getting out of bed, she picked out some clothes and went after the two of them.